Jimmy and JoAnne, on this Martin Luther King Day, we're sort of observing more oppression than freedom. How are you guys doing there in Texas?
We're locked down, intentionally, and we're staying out of harm's way as best we can. And everybody here is really just moving from one foot to the other, prepared to do something in case everybody else drops the ball and doesn't do anything. So it's a tense time for everybody. A real weird thing worldwide.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's, there's a whole lot of weird things happening, like 2,000 marshals, 2,000, what was it?
National
Guardsmen.
Guard were sworn in as U.S. Marshals. And U.S. Marshals, one of their main jobs is to escort criminals to prison.
They also were given authority to act as to enforce laws and stuff, which that's normally not their function. So there's 2,000 of them that have been added to the marshals list in D.C. It's it's a real strange thing. There's all kinds of military hardware. There's fighter wings and refueling planes and all that stuff have been moved.
30,000, they say,
into the Washington D.C. area. There's not any group I know, not any Patriots, not BLM or anybody that has attack aircraft. So that raises a big question. But we've only got another couple of days to find out what's going to happen, if it's going to happen. And of course, the alternative to something not happening is unacceptable.
Well, something's going to happen. I mean, it's like that song, that Rush song. Even if you choose not to decide, you've still made a choice. So even if nothing happens, we'll be doing something. This is really strange, and I'm glad that we were able to get confirmation from the U.S. Marshals themselves, because so much information is flying all around. But it is true, according to the official Twitter here for the U.S. Marshals, Chief Lamont Ruffin from the D.C. District Court has sworn in 2,000 National Guard troops. And they don't give us any explanation as to why they're doing that. I know that people who are still on the trust the plan would tell us that this is because they're going to arrest everybody in D.C. It's certainly curious.
But they were authorized to uphold laws and to make arrests and stuff like that. And marshals normally are, it was a different wording. It was a different wording than what you'd expect. But listen, the good guys could not telegraph exactly what they're doing to the bad guys. Otherwise, there'd be a counterpunch planned before anything ever happened. So, let's be optimistic that the military is gonna do what they really have been tasked to do, and that is to protect the people.
From enemies, foreign and domestic, and foreign and domestic.
Yeah.
There was a firebombing of a big limo in front of the Trump Hotel in Washington D.C.
Whoa!
And there was videos of it. It was a huge limo. It was a 100 or 120 inch stretch right in front of the Trump Hotel. It burned. And
we heard that there was an attempt to kill Trump a week ago.
Yeah, well, there've been those are all.
I mean,
the time.
Yeah, but this was a new one. This was a very serious one.
But things are happening, Jason, in Libya. We've been telling everybody that we're getting a preview of what's going to happen here in Libya, and we're seeing the same things that happened there. They're continuing to happen here. Things are not improving in Libya. They're continuing to try to install their own government rather than an elected government. They've decided now that, well, we don't really need to have an election. We're just going to appoint some more of the Muslim Brotherhood to continue to operate and handle the money and everything, and that's the U.S. appointed UN representative for Libya that is doing all this. She had video conferencing with
1,000 Libyans,
but no tribal leaders in that. So
I don't know. I tried to get in touch with the tribes. It was very difficult. They tried to call me. We talked for a couple of minutes, but the phone dropped all the time, and it was very difficult. And some of my main contacts are in Western Africa right now doing something. I don't know what, but just to understand that she's still pushing for the election, but there's parties inside now, the Muslim Brotherhood, inside this group that's talking about a temporary government until they have the election, is pushing for no election, of course. Yeah. The same kind of thing they did in 2015 when they put this GNA in there. I don't think that's going to happen because the Libyan people are not going to stand for that. You got 99, 95, 96% of them waiting for the election now to get their country back. Egypt stands with them on the election. They said all the foreign troops have to leave, all the foreign mercenaries have to leave, all radicals have to leave Libya. So, you know, we've got some interesting things.
There's deaf ears on the control side.
Yeah, we've got some interesting things. Turkey has stood up again, and the person who calls, it's the blue something, their takeover of the Mediterranean, including the full takeover of Greece.
Yeah.
They want to own all of Greece.
Wow, how does Greece feel about that?
Yeah, they will.
Greece not happy about it.
Greece wants to have open talks about it in front of the world with Turkey. They want to have this. They want to have a discussion. Turkey says we're not having any negotiations because that will ruin our plan to take over the Mediterranean. So we're not talking.
And European Union, France has had a total lockdown. England's had a total lockdown. We heard that Merkel was trying to fly out of Germany and she was stopped at the airport. I've been trying to verify that. We did see video of her going up the ramp and then inside the plane were German officials, and she turned and walked back down the ramp and was taken inside the building.
Wow.
Haven't been able to verify that, but that video is pretty damning, you know.
And the Swiss people regarding the vaccine have gotten enough. They need 50,000 signatures. They got 75. They will now have a referendum in June voting on the lockdown. And if they vote it out, it's over.
And then another country has voted is bringing action against the World Health Organization.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things happening. You know, the world is in such a turmoil. And as I've said, the tipping domino is the United States. And, just in the last couple of weeks, now everybody has stopped pointing the finger at Italy and they're pointing the finger at China. But I want everybody to remember something. About 35 or 40 years ago, Rockefeller went into China and set up the Rothschild, Rockefeller, Medici, Bush banking system in China. They've been operating the central bank in China just like they have most of the other countries in the world. So the bad guys are in full control of the financial system in China. They have been forever. China, like here in the United States, the government of China is the puppet of the banksters. And nobody has any idea how much money they print or anything like that. But it's real convenient to deflect the attention from who the real players were. Now, all of a sudden, China's done everything. When there was proof of the Vatican's involvement in the Moriarty, there was a couple of MI6 agents that were filmed going in and out of Italy, and they went to the U.S. embassy there. They were IT specialists. So there's a lot of stuff out there. Everybody's trying to cover that up, but the truth of the matter is it all stinks. And when the bad guys start deflecting our attention, you got to look at China. You got to look at China. You got to look at China. That's when I try to turn around and start looking behind me and see who's pulling those strings. And you get back to the banksters.
You got to get to the man behind the curtain.
I'm a broken record on that. You can point your finger at 85 top Khazarian mafia bad guys in the world. They're the string holders of all the puppets. And they're the guys that've been doing the dirty deeds and the evil stuff.
And they're the ones trying
for
to
several thousand
years. They're the ones who behind stealing the election. They're the ones who want this Biden in, and then whatever happens from there, they're talking about getting rid of the Constitution under him. That's why they had to have Democrats and Republicans, or Democrats in both the houses controlling things. It will become some kind of document they put in a museum.
Yeah.
It will make the president never have another election and be in full control and full power, like in China or any other places. This is a cyber war on the United States, really.
The problem is we need to be very careful what we discuss here, because people are being wiped out from the internet and from YouTube and various services just for saying things that they don't like. To try and counteract this, I mean, everybody's going to alternative platforms for a long time. The three of us have been doing a sponsor-exclusive show. People can see it in just 20 minutes on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty, or subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We're going to get into details on Libya and what the financial developments mean to people in the United States. I just wanted to share with you guys and our audience briefly. This is happening right now at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. This is from Tara Sapansky. Tara was on the show just last week. Huge NYPD presence over there, and there's a big Black Lives Matter, Martin Luther King rally going on. Unbelievable amount of cops and chaos there. Tara's the woman who was assaulted right over here, 2 blocks from where I am right now. Just about a week ago, NYPD refused to do anything to help her. We could see there's quite a lot of people there outside the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. Hopefully that remains peaceful.
Well, the CIA just released, or FBI released again, all the trash that they supposedly had on Martin Luther King. All of his sexual activities, all the recordings they had in all the hotel rooms that he'd been in forever. And they re-released all that garbage, and they're trying to defame that man as another time around. So, the attempt to divide the country, separate all of us, is going full blast.
Yeah.
And really, there's a whole lot of confusion about the financial, what the systems are going to be like. I'm going to discuss that in detail. And I've got all 3 sides of it that everybody can look at, and then I'm going to give you an editorial about what we know personally about what was going on. But the Nasara, Jassara, and all that, all its long hair and warts and everything else, I'll discuss that in pretty good detail, so everybody can at least understand what. And you're hearing that from more and more sources every day. Well, there's going to be this and there's going to be that. Well, they can look at it and they can make their own decision and try to glean from what you hear, the truth and stuff like that. But I'll give everybody some pretty good basis on
Jason,
that.
what we saw in Libya was we saw the Libyan army fighting to protect the people in 2011 from all the mercenaries that were brought in there. 250,000 of them were brought into Libya and stationed all over the place. And the army was fighting them. Of course, NATO was killing the army in support of these mercenaries.
Yeah.
So we heard some years ago that Obama wanted his own personal army, 3 million strong. We know that there's a bunch of those people in here came from being trained in Libya. If this is what the plan is, I don't know, but I can say that this appears to be very similar to what they did in Libya. They just immediately started bombing and attacking, and all these people were there all of a sudden, taking over people's houses, killing people, chopping people up, raping women, doing whatever they wanted. And if that's what they fear is coming, maybe that's a reason we've got all these troops out there, at least in Washington, D.C.
We would expect the military and the police to defend
the U.S.
homeowners
citizens
and the legitimate citizens, not the rioters, and unfortunately we've seen the opposite of that. But
right.
We've got a lot of information to cover, and it's a weird world out there. Things, upside down and backwards and crossways, and you really have to look at all the misinformation and disinformation. Jason, we've been hearing so many things good and bad about you that I'm looking for your ugly twin someplace.
Listen, we're all yo-yos. We're all yo-yos. Oh, it's great news. No, it's bad news. No, it's great news. No, it's bad news. No, this is a yo-yo. We're all on this ride.
Yeah, I find that, you guys are pointing out a lot of really good and valid points, and they do seem to support some of the theories that perhaps something will happen with these troops. It's definitely, we're in uncharted waters here. We haven't seen a major American city clamp down with 20,000 military troops in it and razor wire all over the place and checkpoints like that. I created the image for tonight's show just to demonstrate that we're currently experiencing an unprecedented plunge into darkness as this Libyan model seems to be taking hold here in the United States. And short of looking at the writing on the signs in some of these images, it really is difficult to distinguish the Libyan chaos there from what we've been seeing all summer and rekindled now here in the United States. It's remarkably similar, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sure.
it is. A lot of
you actually can go back to when the quote unquote Bolsheviks were taking over Russia. We had the same series and sequence of events that took place in Russia. And the bad guys were pointing their finger every place else, and the Bolsheviks are getting rid of these bad guys and we're the good guys. And then what happened after that was absolutely lockdown, loss of or takeaway of all their freedoms, and filled up all those gulags and killed, 25, 30 million, completely wiped out one race of people by Stalin. So it's a terrible history that we can look back at. And God forbid that that's what's going to about take place here, but everybody needs to, pay attention.
A lot of people, Jason, are saying, how is it that we can get 30,000 troops in 2 days in Washington, D.C., and we couldn't get any troops into Benghazi? And we knew it was going to happen. Yeah. And how many troops are in Afghanistan? Not even a third of what's there,
10%,
or 10%. Yeah.
Jimmy just mentioned the Bolsheviks, and something was brought to my attention yesterday that I never knew about before, which is this Operation Trust. And people can dig into this, but it really is remarkably similar to this operation dedicated to the 17th letter of the alphabet. These double-cross agents infiltrated the opposition to the Soviet Union and posed as sympathizers to the opposition. They were exiled from the ranks of the Soviets, kind of similar to how Michael Flynn has been exiled from the ranks of the Democrats. He was hired by Obama. He was a Democrat. He was represented by Covington and Burling, Eric Holder's law firm. I'm very uncomfortable with these anonymous bits of information. I appreciate the stuff that you guys are bringing to us that we're checking out through if the U.S. Marshals say they've deputized 2,000 National Guardsmen, I believe that. If someone finds an anonymous post on 4chan that says that, my first, instinct is to seek confirmation. So I just want to make sure that everybody stays, vigilant in trying to vet information that they get rather than just spreading it all around. I know you guys work very hard to do that. And people who are going to be watching us later on Subscribestar and Patreon, I want to remind people that Jimmy and JoAnne each week are putting together these detailed reports that people are going to be able to download directly from patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty. And when you become a sponsor of Jimmy and JoAnne on Patreon, you qualify for free shipping on their Escape from Al-Qaeda DVD. People can visit LibyanWarTheTruth.com for free and learn more about Jimmy and JoAnne and the time that they spent in Libya. Purchase the DVD for $15. It's normally $5 to ship it to you. But once again, sponsors of Jimmy and JoAnne on Patreon get free shipping on that disc. JoAnne, you want to just give us a brief overview of what we're going to cover later today on the show?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Libya, what's going on with them and the UN. They have appointed a new
puppet.
Yeah, I want to say advocate, but it's not that. It's envoy or whatever it is. And I think he's from Lebanon. I don't know. They tried to appoint one from Eastern Europe and he turned it down, but they don't have Libyans representing Libyans, which is really strange. There he is right there.
Wasn't there somebody else they appointed who just dropped out suddenly?
Yeah, he's from Eastern Europe, and he said he refused. He said, I have personal reasons. My wife is sick, or I don't know what he said. But
he couldn't get any Kevlar underwear.
Yeah, that's right.
Body armor is sold out around the nation, so maybe that was the problem.
Right.
Plus, they want to make it illegal in New York to wear body armor.
I know.
Yeah,
that's right.
They want to be able to shoot the citizens and the bullet counts, We're also going to cover banking, and we've got... I want to tell everybody one thing. This is just free advice, and of course, advice you don't pay for is worth nothing. But if perchance there's some kind of a military operation or fighting taking place in your purview, do not walk out there and try to act like a patriot or anything and get involved in it. Because in Libya, we saw some really good people that finally had their belly full of, and they pick up a gun and they go out in the street. One really nice guy, he took 3 steps out of the hotel and they shot him, and it's just a waste. And if the military is doing their job, let them do it. Don't get in the middle of it, because they're going to look at you as a combatant. So please, take care, hit your knees, pray to whoever you pray to, and let's try to get some sanity.
Yeah. If the Oath Keepers and their group step forward, they'll be organized and they will be
identified,
led and identified. Yeah. So you'll see that.
This is an amazing ban they're proposing here in New York. You already can't exercise your Second Amendment rights. We learned last week that the NYPD refused to protect citizens. Now, I understand that if you commit a violent felony while wearing body armor, that increases the jeopardy, and I support that. But if you're a law-abiding citizen like me, who's just afraid of going outside and getting shot, why am I not allowed to wear body armor?
It's a conundrum, isn't it?
Seems like they want somebody to be able to shoot me.
There you
That's
go.
right. Well, even with body armor, usually it doesn't cover knees and feet and stuff. You can absolutely
And
stop
head.
and head.
Yeah.
You can stop somebody that has body armor.
Absolutely, but I think the idea is to increase your odds of not getting killed by a round. I mean, I share your concern, JoAnne. There's a lot of areas of the body armor that seem like they could have made it more armor, but better than nothing.
People are not that good a shot. The military's not that good a shot. They always try to hit center body mass. They don't try to pluck somebody's eye out. So you're better off being partially protected. But for the government in New York to outlaw body armor, that does not make any sense at all.
No.
It's a game of the mind too, Jason. Don't forget that. This is a mind game, and New York is one of the leading COINTEL mind game places,
Well, I think they've spent years showing it on TV. I mean, we could name a litany of shows from Laverne and Shirley to, Seinfeld and just Friends. Everybody always sees New York as almost the star of the show itself. New York is kind of a celebrity in and of itself. So it's like somebody walking into a bar and picking a fight with the biggest guy there. I think that's the way that you show everybody else that you're in charge. And I think the idea is if you can bring down New York, everybody else falls in line.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's
that.
right. But
we've seen those kinds of activities.
That's going to be a false flag if they do that. That won't work. Because not a whole lot of people in America want to go to New York now. After all the, there's a lot of liberals there. There's a lot.
I mean, they've destroyed the economy here. It's whether people want to.
They've destroyed,
whether people want to come or not. It's just it's an economic engine that kind of drives the whole nation. And if there's no business going on here, I mean, remember when they destroyed just 3 buildings in 2001, it had devastating impact on the economy throughout the nation. So
worldwide, that killed travel entertainment worldwide.
Yeah.
It really did.
Well, we're just a few minutes away now from our sponsor exclusive show. People can join us on patreon.com/James and JoAnne Moriarty, subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth, or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. We've got a lot to cover, so I hope that people will join us there. And I really want to encourage people to sponsor Jimmy and JoAnne and also to visit LibyanWarTheTruth.com. It's more important than ever for people to join us on these alternative platforms because, daily people are being removed from the internet. And in addition to the tech overlords, there's a litany of malicious social engineers who want to take out Jimmy and JoAnne. They want to take out Crowdsource the Truth, and they're all working in concert and, constantly reading these addendums to the rules and seeing what they can go back in time and take advantage of by striking videos from 2 years ago. So I'm dealing with all of these things all day. I hope that people will join us on the sponsor-exclusive platforms. We'll be back in just about 5 minutes, and we'll be delving into this question as to whether or not the United States is plunging into darkness as the Libyan model takes hold. We'll see everybody in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching.